Hello everyone and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be looking at circles in word problems. So similar to the problems that you see up on the screen, you know that whenever I teach word problems, I do beautiful drawings. So here's a beautiful drawing, here's a beautiful drawing. I know I'm a great artist. So this is the speedrun version where we go through pretty quickly. If you'd like the normal version, I will link that in the description below. All right, your Ricasso Recap starts now. In 30 seconds or less, here's what you need to know before you start this lesson. Firstly, you should already know how to calculate the circumference of circles, solving equations with circumference, things like that. Secondly, you should be familiar with rounding decimals. If you'd like a refresher on either of these two topics, I will link videos in the description below. Please go watch that before you start this lesson. All right, new lesson starts now. Here we go. Says the floor of a round hut has a diameter of 6 yards. What is the floor's area? If necessary, round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so let's start with a beautiful drawing. It's a round hut. Here's my perfect circle. That's a joke. And in my hut, let's see, there's going to be a bed over here. There's going to be a fire. Those are the logs with some flames. Beautiful, I guess. And then let's put a little table over here. Okay, so the area formula for a circle is area equals pi times the radius squared. Area equals pi r squared. And so r is the radius. They tell us the diameter is 6, so we should know that the radius is therefore 3. So we for pi, we're going to use 3.14. Please use 3.14 in this IXL, because if you use the pi symbol, you'll get the wrong answer. So let's use 3.14 times the radius, which is 3 to the second power. This, by hand, in a calculator, in your head, I guess, when you do that, you get 28.26. Oops, 28.26. So the area is equal to 28.26. This is area, so it'll always be square something. In this case, it is square yards. Square yards. All right, this says Dakota measures the lens on a magnifying glass and calculates that it has an area of 72.3456 square centimeters. What is the lens's circumference? And again, round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so this was a little backwards. They give you area. They give you the area, and they want you to find the circumference. So we know how to find circumference. What can we do with this area? Well, we know, before we go any further, where is my beautiful magnifying glass? Boom, boom, and then kind of a circle at the top. This is a wonderful magnifying glass. Now, we know the area formula is pi times r squared. We know the area is 72.3456. We know pi is 3.14, and we don't know what the radius is, so let's leave it as r squared. Well, now we have an equation, and we should know, okay, I want to move the 3.14 to the other side, so I need to divide on both sides. These cancel out. I'm left with r squared equals, when I do this division over here, I get 23.04. Now, the last step is we need to find the radius. Right now, we know the radius squared. So to find the radius, in equations, we always do the opposite, right? So the opposite of squaring something is to square root it. So we're going to square root on both sides. When you do that, you just get r is equal to, and when you type that in a calculator, you get 4.8. So now we know the radius. The problem asked us for the circumference, so we should remember, hopefully, that circumference is equal to 2 times pi times r. And so 2 times 3.14 times 4.8. When you do all of that, you get 30.144. Remember, it said round to the nearest hundredth. So it's 30.14, and this was centimeters. Centimeters. All right, here's our cool clock for today, which means that it's time for you to practice what you just learned. Go ahead and pause the video and try these two problems on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. Okay, for the first problem, here is my wonderful drawing with the cupcake tray and the cupcake, of course. Here is the work. You should have gotten 3.14 square inches. And for the second problem, here is my beautiful rug. I don't know what happened there. Here is the work. If you were paying really close attention, you should have actually ended up with the same area from our example problem. But when you round it, you should get 72.35. All right, that is it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.